Welcome to Smash Fiction, the podcast where we pit two or more nerd icons against one another in a battle of strength, or wits, or pew pew pew, pew pew pew, and see who would win. This week, Rogue Squadron versus Team Star Fox. No one really remembers how the war started. Some say it began when James Kirk and Jane Shepard got into a pickup contest at Mos Eisley that turned the wrong kind of heated. That's a good story. The movie version comes out next summer. But most people who actually take the time to read history know that things actually got bad when Jedi Masters Inigo Montoya and Zorro got their hands on increasingly effective wormhole technology and started fucking around in other dimensions to try and defeat the First Order. And only the most informed have figured out that the sudden advancement and proliferation of this technology just happened to coincide with the elevation of one Rick Sanchez to the Supreme Council of Interdimensional Explorers of New Territory and Scientific Thought. When asked why everybody and their murdered by Tusken Raiders' mothers were suddenly running around with admittedly inferior but still pretty awesome copies of his patented portal gun, Sanchez reportedly shrugged, belched, and said, "I was bored." A few years and several hundred interdimensional incursions later, the science fiction multiverse was at war. Reavers attacked Starfleet, the Covenant Armada invaded Klendathu, Barbarella clashed with Flash Gordon, Skrulls impersonated replicants. Or did they? I mean, it's crazy. Potential Smash Fiction matchups flying around everywhere.
Boy, that's convenient.
Chaos. Total chaos. But it's chaos with some strategy. And as the greatest conflict in all space-time rages on, a new strategic opportunity arises, one with the potential to change everything. The First Alliance, an amalgamated power structure consisting of the First Order and the Union of Allied Planets, has recently discovered a version of Earth that plays host to a very interesting satellite, the Battle School, a space station composed of a series of rotating rings that houses and trains entire armies of child geniuses. Bred for brilliance and steeped in the ways of tactical warfare since the age of 6, these kids could collectively end the war in a week if they put their minds to it, and the side that controls them would have a devastating advantage. To secure the Battle School, the First Alliance sends out the best hired mercenaries money can buy, Fox McCloud and Team Star Fox. It's a perfect choice. The team can reach the station quickly in their R-Wings, they can defend both themselves and the Battle School if need be, and hey, kids like talking animals, right? Right? Anyway, it should be a cakewalk. No one else knows this information. I mean, so many Bothans died just getting it for us. God damn it, Vader, will you stop sending important messages without encrypting them already? Jesus. Ever since the whole 2 Death Stars thing, he's been acting like an emo kid having a midlife crisis. Can you believe that the other day he actually told Emperor Palpatine, "You're not my real, purely symbolic dad"? Unbelievable. Well, shit. Now the Resistance knows about the Battle School too, by which I mean every Resistance from every movie, TV show, or book that ever used the name Resistance. They're all one now. They know about the Battle School too, and they'll be damned if they let the Alliance have it. They send out a team of their own, a little blast from the past pulled out of an alternate dimension, Luke Skywalker and the Rogue Squadron. And as luck would have it, / because it always happens this way, the two teams arrive at the Battle School at exactly the same time. They'll have to get through one another to get to the space station, but which dogfighting team of ace pilots and crackshots have what it takes to win? I don't know. That's why I, Miles Schneiderman, will be your increasingly better rendered with more polygons and advanced CGI judge this week. Advocating for Rogue Squadron are Dan Mulcairn,
Periwinkle 5 standing by,
and Kit Mulcairn.
Aww.
My
Were you sued for that?
We'll find out.
Yep.
Kenny Baker's gonna be really pissed.
Well, he's dead now, so we can do that.
Oh, that's true, that's true.
He's one with the Force now.
That's right.
He's a ghost.
He's a little blue ghost.
Yeah, his blue ghost will appear to us with a lawsuit.
Representing Team Star Fox are Megan Bob.
Never give up. Trust your bullshit.
And returning to Smash Fiction once again, Rafael Medina.
Don't get too cocky, Rogue Squadron.
To determine who goes first, I decided that we haven't done a contest in a while.
Ugh.
Yep.
Yeah. right.
And we are kind of celebrating the release of Rogue One, so each team will get the chance to answer the following question. Without adjusting for inflation, The Force Awakens has the highest domestic box office of all time, third highest worldwide. Besides The Force Awakens, which Star Wars film has pulled in the most box office in both domestic and worldwide markets? Team Rogue Squadron.
Phantom Menace.
Team Star Fox.
I want to say Phantom Menace too, because it's the
Okay.
only one I can remember.
That is correct. So I have a tiebreaker. According to an informal and probably not entirely accurate list I found on the internet, where does Star Fox rank in a list of Nintendo's top 15 best-selling franchises? The closest answer will win. Star Fox.
Fourth.
Fourth.
That's the fucking number I was gonna say.
Well, choose fifth
Damn
then.
it.
So we'll choose fifth.
Okay, fifth.
Fifth?
Raphael, we are one.
All right. The answer is 14th.
Ooh.
So,
Oh my god.
We Price is right at
I
it.
know, this is some price
Damn.
bullshit.
so Team Rogue Squadron will be going first.
This feels so, like, unfairly won.
It's okay. I legitimately knew that The Phantom Menace was the Star Wars movie that made the most money, so I feel fine about it.
All right, so Team Rogue Squadron, take no hostages.
Oh.
Ah! Fun.
Oh, you apparently scared Bob with your pun.
I wasn't expecting it. It jumped out.
Team Star Fox are a fairly elite group of mercenaries drawn from the cartoony animals of Corneria, meaning that they're among the best pilots from their whole planet. Which is kind of cute when compared to Rogue Squadron, a group of the most skilled and elite pilots from an entire galaxy. According to the Star Wars handbook, the mere threat of Rogue Squadron showing up in a battle would be enough to prompt enemies of the Republic to surrender immediately. There was this time when Rogue Squadron had to go undercover to take down Emperor Palpatine's successor, and the New Republic had to put together a fake Rogue Squadron until the real deal returned. They knew that if word got out that Rogue Squadron wasn't immediately at the ready to leap to the defense of the defenseless, the galaxy would basically dissolve into anarchy. The rogue you're likely most familiar with is Luke Skywalker, a pilot with some seriously unbelievable skills, much of which comes from his incredibly strong connection to the Force. It's with this connection that he's able to pull off the impossible, like firing a pair of proton torpedoes down an exhaust port whose entrance is apparently too small for even a computer to accurately target. Have Team Star Fox ever had to go up against someone who's basically a wizard? Because that's what's happening here. Remember that scene in Empire when Rogue Group using flying snowplows manages to take down the Empire's AT-ATs? Remember how they used a magnetic harpoon to attach the tow cable to the AT-AT's leg? Yeah, Wes, good shot, Jansen, was the one who made that unbelievable shot. From a moving vehicle, at the tiniest part of another moving vehicle, with no targeting computer, on his first try. In the years following the Battle of Hoth, Jansen's aim becomes even more lethal, making him a match for any of Star Fox's wingmates. Tycho Selchu, on first glance, seems like the lamest of the four here, but Selchu is skilled, tactically minded, and a perfect team player who knows better than to jeopardize a mission by being a glory hound. During the Battle of Endor, he helped Lando Calrissian and Wedge blow the second Death Star's reactor by helping to draw TIE fighters away from them, eluding the faster ship's fire the whole time. He does what's best for the mission and is always working to see what needs to be done, often seeing paths to victory that his allies and enemies alike would have missed. Then, of course, there's Wedge Antilles, the man whom some claim to be the real hero of the rebellion. Wedge's list of accomplishments is staggering. While still in Space High School, he took a starfighter and destroyed the dreaded Bone Star pirates, who had killed his parents. He was the one who captured all of the X-Wings that the rebellion used throughout their war with the Empire. He's the only person who survived both Death Star attacks. Unsurprisingly, by the time Wedge finally retires decades after Return of the Jedi, the pilots of the New Republic have to go through training sequences that consist largely of techniques developed and perfected by Wedge Antilles.
Now, let's take a look at what Team Star Fox brings to the space table. They're led by Cornerian Army Academy dropout Fox McCloud, who also convinced his now teammate Slippy Toad to leave the academy early. And really, Slippy needed that extra time in school, as we see in the Lilat Wars manga, where he forgot to pay attention to the low fuel warnings, and so crashes on Titania. I'm sure Team Star Fox will argue that the engineering service Slippy provides more than makes up for his chucklefuckery. But does it? He is the least liked character in the game because the player, as Fox, is always having to save Slippy, who can never seem to shake enemies off his own frog ass. Fox can tolerate it, but Falco's always getting on the kid for his fuck-ups. Now, Falco's always kind of a grouch. He might be the best pilot on the team, but he certainly thinks he is, and that arrogance has cost him in the past. Due to a misunderstanding, Falco and Fox once got into a dogfight of their own. Falco pretty much had Fox beat when he realized that barrel rolls leave the pilots disoriented for a moment afterwards. But while he took the time to gloat, Fox used an obvious trick of his own. McLeod flew towards the sun, hiding within the light and catching the blinded Falco off guard. Maybe if Falco does this for a few more decades, he'll finally be able to knock that pesky chip off his shoulder. But you know who has done this for a few decades? Old Peppa Hare. He's been doing this so long that he's past the peak of the competency bell curve. And let's be real, he's gonna die soon. Peppy's so old and no longer...
Wait, are you gonna tell me about the average life of a hare? 'Cause I want to hear more about this.
You've come to the right advocate.
I actually looked this up.
I know you did,
made it.
kid.
No, you're gonna get it now. All the animals that make up this team actually live to about the same average lifespan, which is in the teens.
Oh, that's cute.
Except maybe Falco, because he's like kind of an unknown animal. He might be a caracara, so I didn't really look him up anyway.
Oh, he's a pheasant.
What?
It's not a fucking pheasant.
No,
He's a
pheasants
pheasant.
don't look like that, Miles.
I'm just...
What goddamn pheasant is he supposed to be?
He's some ungodly abomination of science. Given
No,
that.
He looks like a
pheasants-
red-throated caracara, whose
I'm
genus
telling you,
name used to be Falco.
He was
I am telling you, I read about this. There's a
Okay.
pheasant has like a important place in Japanese mythology or some shit. He's a fucking pheasant.
Man, this
I need-
match is taking a very different
You
turn.
know what?
I need to look
because
this up.
he's judging. Yeah, sure, definitely a pheasant, Miles.
All right, we're talking about Peppy Hare
Where
here.
was I? Oh yeah, he's gonna
Okay,
die.
apologies.
Peppy's so old and no longer cut out for this that he himself has acknowledged it and officially retired. However, he does come back to fight alongside Fox from time to time. Perhaps it's the guilt from failing to save the life of Fox's father. Maybe Peppy longs for this sweet release of death, a chance to reunite with his old friend and deceased wife. It would explain why he keeps coming back and why he was willing to perform a suicidal tactic in the fight against the Aperoids. Don't worry, Peppy. We'll send you home.
The Rogues not only have the better pilots, but their ships have several critical advantages over the R-Wings. First of all, the X-Wings have a very versatile weapon system. There's a laser cannon at the end of each of the 4 wings, and they can fire individually or in different combinations, including firing all 4 at the same target. By alternating which laser cannon is firing, the Rogues make it that much harder for Team Star Fox to anticipate where the next attack will be coming from, and that much harder to avoid it. But that's not the only weapon system that the X-Wings bring to bear here. They also have their Death Star destroying proton torpedoes. When the Death Star's designer put ray shields around the main exhaust port, the rebels resorted to proton torpedoes to get past the shields. Given the way that the R-Wing's G-diffusers don't protect against physical collisions and bomb detonations, I'm willing to bet that the X-Wing's proton torpedoes can easily smash through whatever defenses the R-Wings have. Go ahead, do a barrel roll. It won't help.
Also, Peppy, that's not a barrel roll. The move that the R-Wings are performing there is called an aileron roll. The senility is setting in early, but since at least 2 of your teammates are academy dropouts, I can understand why no one ever corrected you. But let's talk about these barrel rolls. As I mentioned earlier, Falco himself pointed out that this crucial defensive move leaves the R-Wing open to attack at the end of the maneuver, as the pilot requires a moment to get their bearings. Even if we didn't have space wizard Luke Skywalker on our team, our other pilots have proven that they are more than capable of perceiving and timing the perfect shot, without a computer. But we got those and proton torpedoes, so overkill?
But the X-Wings share no such blind spots in their defenses. Their deflector shields can generate both ray and particle shields, meaning that they can protect against both lasers and physical attacks like missiles and smart bombs. And of course, one huge advantage that the X-Wings have over the R-Wings is the R2 unit plugged into the top. A handy astromech droid can make incredibly complex and important calculations on the fly that can turn the tide of battle. And they can make repairs to the X-Wing mid-dogfight. Anyone piloting an R-Wing has to bring their ship back to the shop for repairs to be made. Their pilots are better, and their ships are stronger, more versatile, and harder to destroy. This will be a day long remembered. It has seen the end of Nintendo's dominance in the console wars, and it will soon see the end of Team Star Fox.
That was certainly a strong opening salvo from Team Rogue Squadron. Team Star Fox, do a bullshit roll!
Yeah!
As I played the Rogue Squadron games and fulfilled my Rebel Fighter pilot fantasies, I couldn't help but be bedeviled by two thoughts. The first was the hope that the games were, in actuality, a testing process by which new pilots for the Rebels could be scouted, identified, and recruited, Last Starfighter-like, into the Rebel Alliance and whisked away to fight for the side of freedom and justice in a galaxy far, far away. You failed me, Factor 5. The second was, man, this would be way easier in an R-Wing.
So, in honor of Liz, who is not here for this match, roguish smile, amazing fashion sense, incredible white eyebrows and a mohawk stripe of white hair, piercing eyes, and the strong biceps and golden red fur of a fox. Because he's a fox.
Do foxes have strong biceps?
I mean, he does, in all senses of that word. Furries, I am here to represent one of the princes of your kingdom, and I will do him justice. He is the Captain Kirk, the Captain Shepard, and the Mal Reynolds of this world. TV tropes described him as a one-man army, because he is. He's good at flying, fighting, and if we ask Crystal, possibly some other F word too. Let's stick to the first two, though, because then this will be a very different sort of match, and I really don't want to think about Wes Jansen that way. Fox takes on an entire armada in the Lilat Wars, an armada comparable to that of the Empire. In Star Fox Zero, he stomps 4 superior Wolfen ships all by his damn self. He's even able to be friends with that annoying little dinosaur. His powers are literally limitless. He's also a born leader. Crystal gets a psychic wave that Saria is in trouble, and within 30 seconds, Fox McCloud has assigned them battle positions, and they're ready to save a whole damn planet from space disaster. I love that we're just using space as like a... What do you call it?
Smash fiction way.
Space!
An all-purpose adjective.
Sharks! Sorry.
Sharks!
Falco Lombardi is a bird that looks kind of like a pterodactyl, which many agree is the best kind of dinosaur to look like.
He's a pheasant!
Not a dinosaur!
Look it
Pterodactyls
up.
are not
No,
dinosaurs.
absolutely. I apologize, your judge.
We almost got past it.
Okay. As great a flyer as Fox is, Falco is shown to be better and also willing to take one for the team, like when arriving at Venom's Flatlands in the comics. Falco distracts the enemy fighters so Fox can reach Andross's palace. That is the tactical move of a team player. Falco's truly the best pilot in the Star Fox universe, despite the whole thing being named after Fox McCloud, or James McCloud, or just the idea of foxes in space as a concept. As amazing and practiced as Fox McCloud is, Falco is routinely treated as the more skilled of the two. I mean, he's a raptor that flies a deadly aircraft. That's twice the amount of deadliness. Double deadliness! Falco calls his enemies prey, because you can take the raptor out of the sky, but you can't... Well, no, you also put it back in the sky, but in an R-wing, and then you give it a bunch of weapons, and it destroys its prey with laser cannons, as the old saying goes. Peppy, a boss-ass rabbit, can single-handedly take out a super dreadnought in Star Fox Zero, despite being well past his prime. I can barely single-handedly get my ass out of bed in the morning. And this Bun is smashing intergalactic monster ships while telling his buddy Star Fox, oh no, his name isn't Star Fox, is it? His name is Fox. Anyway, well, I mean, he's Star Fox in all of our hearts. While telling his buddy Fox to just hang back, because old man Peppy's got this covered. He's the most experienced pilot on a team that's already damn impressive. Peppy's seen it all, and he can identify weaknesses in enemy ships, tactics, formations, and be able to exploit it, and then instruct his co-critters on how to exploit it. Oh, also he made it to the rank of general, a title that's like king of the military, as I understand it. And I saved the best for last. Slippy Toad. Shut your foolish yap if you don't think he's the best. He's a toad that can look at an aircraft and instantly analyze it. In fact, he just yells at you. Enemy shields analyzed! You need someone who can look at what shield your enemy is using, which if you're in an X-Wing is maybe like several layers of tissue paper and some bubble gum.
You wish.
Slippy will know what you've got. Better still, he can determine your health bar, and not granola either. We mean the kind that tells us how many Astro slaps in the face it'll take before you spin off into the dark, uncaring abyss. Ryan Creamer on Dorkly also points out that he's more than just an engineer. He's a super engineer. But what the hell kind of engineer leaves the lab or the hangar and goes out to be a pilot? One that thirsts for blood on his hands and the sight of his enemies exploding before his eyes. Is he a toad made of pure nightmares who has stared into the void too long? Maybe so.
You made Kit
Raphael,
laugh with a mouthful of Coke, I want you to know. And she's having some difficulties.
Well, Raphael's
we were supposed to sell that Coke.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Damn it, Pam!
Damn it, Pam.
Atop the Star Fox crew's superior spacemanship, they simply have hardier, deadlier, more maneuverable craft and technology in comparison to the outclassed, outdated, dare I say, outfoxed, income fighter, scrabbled together rebel gear. The Space Dynamics R-Wing is simply not only the optimal ship, but the hands-down best fighter out of both the Star Wars and Star Fox universes. Its speed capabilities range from the ability to engage enemies at a forward standstill while having complete vertical maneuverability to zipping along in atmosphere at 5,186.6 kilometers per hour. That is Mach 4.2. The X-Wing fighter, full throttle, has a top in-atmosphere speed of 1,050 kilometers per hour, which maths out to carry the Mach 0.85. That's Diet Mach 1. We on Earth have cars that have gone faster 19 years ago. To go any faster, it needs to engage its deflector shields, which means that, yes, in atmosphere, the X-Wings will take damage completely failing to try to catch up to the R-Wing, or even trying to reach Earth's current land speed record. It's like going to a drag race on horseback and finding out you're up against a Ferrari. However, speed means nothing if it's only good for going straight. The R-Wing, thankfully, is able to maintain these speeds while nimbly dancing through the skies and stars with equal proficiency. The G-Diffuser negates the deleterious effects of acrobatic aerial maneuvers upon not only the ship but the pilots, enabling the craft to effortlessly cut through the skies in a space and area which would kill pilots and destroy ships. It can perform an Immelman turn, what Peppy lovingly refers to as a U-turn, needing only the vertical space of 3 times the ship's height. It does a somersault in the vertical space of 4 ship lengths, and it can aileron roll on command even while performing any other acrobatic maneuver without affecting trajectory or path of any concurrent stunt. The X-Wing fighter is not shown to be nearly so dynamic, requiring a lot of space in order to engage in dogfight. It's kind of a little bit of a huge drawback when your opponents need so little area to get to an advantageous position to gun you down. The R-Wings, speaking of dynamism, can operate in 3 modes. In the bombing attack strafing mode, they can penetrate and decimate an enemy armada with ease. Hell, you're cutting down a fleet the size of the Empire defenses at Endor by Sector Y, the second stage in Star Fox 64. But it really shines in all-range mode, wherein all Colin-esque degrees of yaw, pitch, and roll are mere playthings to be toyed with at will. Star Fox Zero introduces the Walker mode, wherein the ship itself morphs into a bipedal battle mech capable of attaching itself to large capital ships for up-close and personal beatdowns and hangar infiltration. They have more than enough maneuverability to handle the forward-thrust dominant flying style of the Rebel fighters. So, the R-Wing has the speed, grace, and control of Baryshnikov on the purest high-grade cocaine. But to win this fight, it better also pack a punch, and it hits harder than the 2016 election result. It packs that's fucking hard! It packs a turbo twin laser, which can be charged to fire a homing shot which deals enough damage to destroy most enemy ships in a single blast. Those are separate from the smart bombs, an area effect prescription for cataclysmic devastation written directly to you with refills from Dr. Fuck You Up. These can also be launched with a locked-on target, with the pilot controlling the precise moment of detonation if needed, and that's using them independent of their lock-on and homing ability. These smart bombs take out all but the grandest of capital ships in a single blow, and any X-Wing that gets caught in its blast radius is going to become one with the Force real fast. And should worst come to worst, it has a single laser cannon at the nose of the fuselage for those rare but dire circumstances where both rings and cannons are incapacitated. Did you just hear that right? Yes, you did, son. The R-Wing is the hardiest starfighter in all of science fiction. It can withstand both of its wings being shot / ripped / shorn off and still bring the pain with its full maneuverability, albeit with added minor altitude issues. It can withstand temperatures of up to 9,000 degrees, which is the heat generated on the surface of the sun, and necessary because, guess what? They fought on the surface of the goddamn sun, son! The R-Wing because of its construction, shielding, and revolutionary G-diffuser system, can take a beating from energy, mechanical, and physical attacks, and keep right on fighting. The X-Wing has 4 wings to choose from, so it shouldn't be a problem if they lose one. Yeah, oh wait, nope. If there's anything that the Battle of Yavin had showed, it's that if their craft are compromised in any way, the X-Wings light up like hippies at a Grateful Dead concert. Most unstoppable of all is the revolutionary G-diffuser, which, aside from granting unbelievable maneuverability and rendering crashes a far less fatal affair, it provides extra shielding protection through its zero-point energy style technology. So powerful is its gravity-bending effects that the act of performing the aileron roll, what Peppy amusingly misidentifies as a barrel roll, but you know, he's old and that's their way, creates a gravity force field so strong that it totally deflects incoming enemy fire, leaving the ship entirely unscathed. And let's face it, the Rogues ain't exactly going up against the most dangerous of enemies. Their main opposition are the TIE fighters of the Galactic Empire, unshielded cannon fodder, which nevertheless managed to give the supposedly superior X-Wings heartburn at their every step. TIEs would be but score-raising target practice on their way to Star Fox's real target, which include transforming capital-class ships which attack with projectiles and, much to Dan's chagrin, mechanically and physically, as the team have no choice but to engage in tight quarters combat. X-Wings simply do not have the hops to get out of the way of these swift strikes, whereas the R-Wing can jut and juke like Walter Payton and counterattack. The Rogues have never seen bogeys like a monster made of living solar fusion, multi-story skeletal desert hellbeasts, transmorphing capital-class ships, the Borg-like Aparoid menace, or the threat of the Anglar army. And boy howdy have Star Fox seen their share of dogfights. The Venomian Armada has its fighters, which are generally more powerful than the Imperial fleet, which Star Fox engages and defeats as a matter of course. But their most decisive experience comes in the multitudinous encounters they've had with their mercenary counterparts, Star Wolf. Equipped with G-diffuser-enabled fighters comparable to the R-Wings, they've bested these Space Flight Academy-trained foes on multiple occasions, defeating them in close-quarters dogfights to the point that there's a begrudging respect from the Star Wolf squad. Seeing how the Rogues struggle with stormtroopers, the science fiction low bar for ineffectiveness, they're just out of their league.
Just looking at the teams, what we're dealing with is animals versus humans. And while humans might be capable killers, we lack that certain je ne sais quoi of ruthlessness that supersedes moral code. Bunnies fight to kill. A fox will eat your face off if you get too close. A toad will piss all over your hand and also bite your thumb.
I vouch for that.
And a falcon? Well, we've got a falcon nest at my university right now. And they've had to issue warnings and put out umbrellas because so many people got dive bombed and had to go get claw gouges cleaned out at the health center.
It's a pheasant!
Yes, sorry. We have a pheasant infestation. I apologize.
Okay, good.
So many
Thank you.
fucking pheasants! Okay, in the world of animals, fight or die is real. As I mentioned earlier, Falco calls his enemies prey. And you know what animals do with their prey? They devour them, still kicking and struggling.
All right, well, Team Star Fox. Team Star Fox firing back in a big way. It is now time for rebuttals. Team Rogue Squadron. I thought their argument smelled bad on the outside.
So, Raphael, you mentioned that the X-Wing's max speed in atmosphere without their deflector shields on was somewhere just north of about 1,000 kilometers an hour, which is admittedly a pretty pokey speed. What you failed to recognize, though, is that in the Star Wars universe, having a deflector shield on in Atmo can increase your speed by up to 44 times, which means that basically X-Wings with their shields on can go Mach 35. That's way faster than anything you guys have under the hood.
Mach 35 with their S-foils closed, because Lord knows when they've got to speed up, they got to close the thing and they can't attack. So, fat lot of good that's going to do when the R-Wings can come around at their speed and just fire back at them. While they're
We're
just like,
in space.
Another thing I want to point out, unlike Team Star Fox, Team Rogue Squadron has no IT guys uncomfortably crammed into a cockpit like Slippy. There's no aging pilots way past their prime like Peppy. Everyone in Rogue Squadron is the best of the best. So let me ask you guys, how many times have you played Star Fox and unironically uttered the phrase, "Thank God for Peppy"? Or, "Boy, I sure am glad Slippy was there"?
Me, every time.
Me? Because then I know when I can give my hand a break to stop smashing the damn A button. God bless you, Slippy, and your murder eyes.
Motherfucking Slippy is always getting tailed. You are always spending part of the game trying to save his ass. Just let him die. You'll, accomplish your mission faster.
That's
that
exactly
basically-
what happened with Biggs and Luke on the first Death Star.
Biggs is dead, and rightfully so.
There we go.
Wow.
Point made.
The other thing I want to say is, you've been talking about how sleek and fast the R-Wing is, especially in comparison to the X-Wing, but the thing is, if you've ever played the Star Fox games, especially in all-terrain mode, you realize that it's just not that maneuverable. Think about all the times that you've played the game, and you need to make a tight, precise turn that isn't just making a U-turn. Imagine having to make a 90-degree turn in an R-Wing. The turning radius of the R-Wing is unforgivably gigantic. It's like trying to maneuver a shopping cart in the heat of battle.
Well, Dan, I can't account for how you play Star Fox.
Oh! Sick burn! Jesus, Raphael.
I play Star Fox by, when I need to turn, I tilt the analog stick to the right, and then I start
And then
turning.
you wait.
And I wait as people are hitting me with lasers from all sides as I'm trying to face my target.
Because you basically have to do a barrel roll to deflect those. Oh, and then, you're disoriented, and that leaves actual good pilots.
I'm sure that poor Biggs and Wedge in the Battle of Yavin really would have loved those aileron rolls to deflect those fighters.
You know what? No one on Team Star Fox is half the pilot that Darth Vader is. And no R-Wing packs the punch that those turbo lasers mounted on the surface of the Death Star pack.
Oh, you're talking about the turbo lasers that are on the surface, the towers and the turrets, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, they go up against that sort of thing. Like I said, back in Sector Y and Area 6, the Capital class ships have blasts just that powerful, and the R-Wing is able to gently, nimbly, and gracefully deflect that shit all over the place.
I'm glad that you guys brought up the other missions that Team Star Fox has been on, Raphael, because as a group, Rogue Squadron have appeared in 126 separate pieces of Star Wars stories. And in those stories, they perform and succeed in high-risk, impossible missions in almost every appearances. And mind you, those are just the appearances of Rogue Squadron as a group. If you take these 4 characters as a whole, they've collectively appeared over 600 times. That's a ton of experience that they bring to the table. Team Star Fox has appeared in 7 main games, although most of those just go over the same story, so there's really only 5 original stories. There's a couple of spin-offs, some cameos in Smash Bros. And WarioWare, and then a handful of comics and manga, most of which just retell the plots of the main Star Fox games.
There's also a period of time between 2 games, I believe, or 2 storylines, where the galaxy is so great that they have nothing to do for 4 years, to the point where their ship is in disrepair because they cannot freaking afford to keep it up. And then there's another period of time, which is 8 years. So that's what? I fuck math. 12 years where they're doing nothing?
Because they did such a good job the first time.
Yeah, they stayed dead. Star Wars would be boring if Star Fox was there, because they would have just destroyed the Empire in that first go. And then we wouldn't have had any further stories.
Space animals just aren't as badass as humans. I'm sorry, Bob, but humans are the most dangerous animal. We have killed more of other types of animals than any other animal on this planet.
I'm well aware of the Anthropocene extinction event, Kit, that we are living through. Thank you. I just didn't want to bring it up because it seemed like a dick move to talk about humans that way.
On that note of Kit going wildly out of character and Bob bringing up the anthropomorphine.
No, Anthropocene. Sorry.
Anthropocene, whatever. The fucking extinction. Shut up. I gotta say, that was some good rebuttals, but can't let him do that, Star Fox.
So one of the things that Dan said was that their successes gave them an almost mythical presence in battle and could sometimes prompt an enemy to surrender without any shots being fired. And then you also mentioned that they had to create a fake version of it because people freaked out. So what you're telling me is that half of their reputation is based on propaganda.
Well,
that they might have done something great,
Once.
but then, so they did the great thing. And then everybody was like, ooh, spooky great thing. And then, because the people were so freaked out, they're like, oh no, the great thing might not happen again. They're like, shit, get the presses rolling.
Man, it wasn't just
WikiLeaks of the fucking Republic.
Bob, it wasn't just one great thing they did. Like,
Okay,
again,
fine.
they've done 126 appearances as Rogue Squadron. They've been doing this stuff for decades. Like,
That's a lot of opportunities to get killed, and they did it.
Yeah.
And then they also won. They didn't just not get killed. They won.
like Wedge led
Those
them
126 fights.
126 appearances in Star Wars. In
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
various Star Wars fiction. Those are appearances. That's not like when they were mentioned or when they appeared in a flashback. Those are things
Or
they
that they
did.
were canon.
Well, I mean, they're all legends now, but you know.
Yeah,
We don't have a match if this is canon.
Yeah.
So, one thing I want to point out, Wedge led the mission which allowed the rebellion to capture the freaking capital of the Empire. He captured Coruscant. Imagine what it would take to capture Washington, D.C., and now imagine that D.C. is the size of a planet. Like, what kind of amazing pilot and soldier and all-around badass would be needed to lead that kind of impossible mission? Because whatever your answer, Wedge Antilles is that person.
Fox
You know what I
McCloud
will
on
say?
Venom.
Venom is a wasteland with one base on it.
Want to touch on the science fiction fact that the Empire is the low bar for not getting shit done correctly. Their people are terribly trained. Shooting like a stormtrooper is basically guarantee you're going to survive something. So if you're going up against the scrubs of the universe, of course you're going to do fairly well, but you're not going up against Star Fox, man.
How many planets has Andros blown up? Because if the answer is less than, what? Well, one in A New Hope, and then a bunch in Starkiller Base in Force Awakens. Like, if it's less than that, he's worse than the Empire, categorically. And the Empire is not the only foes that Rogue Squadron have faced, like the Yuuzhan Vong invade in the New Republic era, and this is like an extragalactic empire with the capability of basically ignoring the Force. Wedge Antilles beats an entire squadron of these guys single-handedly.
Talking about the Space Academy and Fox is a dropout and that Slippy was a dropout. Here's the thing. Peppy wasn't, and you know who in Rogue Squadron never went to any sort of formal flight school? Here's a tip. He couldn't do his duties because he wanted to go with his friends to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters. He's just so damn whiny. He doesn't have any of the formalized training that Fox himself and Slippy have had. And by the way, in Star Fox Zero, Slippy is way more effective than he was back in Star Fox 64. He is not to be underestimated.
Luke makes up for it because he's a space wizard.
Space Wizard, which the Star Fox team kills twice.
I mean, Luke Skywalker is able to steer proton torpedoes with his mind. If you're talking about your smart bombs and your little, like, homing energy bolt things, the tracking system on those can be thrown off by doing a loop. That is nothing compared to the power of the Force.
All the power of the Force did was make him act irresponsibly. They got a computer for that. He could use the Force for something else, like maybe reach behind him and slam some of those X-Wings into the wall. But no, he had to go with his friends to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Man, Luke Skywalker arrives on Yavin right before the Death Star gets there, and to everyone in the Rebellion, he looks like some hayseed whose idea of piloting probably involves, like, driving his pickup truck off-road. But then he proves himself to all of them by basically setting all new records in the base's flight simulators, in some cases taking down an entire Starfleet by himself. He can use the Force to pilot the Millennium Falcon by himself, which not even Han Solo can really do.
It is getting...
I know, it was gonna be
I have
scary.
to moderate you guys. I had to actually moderate you.
Hold the back!
You guys
Because
still
it was
gonna
getting
be friends
so
after
heated.
this?
The pew-pews are flying hard and fast on both sides. I'm honestly not sure what... wait, what is that? Do you see it? Look, up
It's
sky.
that small moon.
Up in the
That's
sky.
It's
Whenever
a shark.
you're ready.
It's a bird?
Up in the sky.
Listen.
Jumping over a shark. It's the lightning round.
Yay! Shark.
It's a
Seriously,
space
these lightning rounds have gotten fucking ridiculous lately. Went back to basics a little bit for this one.
Okay.
All right. I'm sure Liz will bring it back to insanity
Yep.
soon.
I'm sure she will, but she's not here,
Yes.
so she can't
We have
complain.
to take the advantage.
Yeah. Rogue Squadron and Team Star Fox are getting ready to call a stalemate. This fight is so close. When all of a sudden, oh, fuck me, another stupid portal. I swear they're just happening randomly now. This one is massive, swallowing up both fighter teams and the battle school too. When they come out the other side, the first thing both teams notice is that it's really hard to see. You appear to be in some kind of weird space cloud. You can barely make out the shapes of the other ships around you, and the space station is just a fuzzy mass in what may or may not be the distance. You know what else is weird? The smell here. It doesn't make any sense, because you should just be smelling your own body odor still, but all of a sudden you can smell raspberries, and is that rum? It smells like raspberry rum? Well, it's sure as hell something with an alcohol content level, because all of a sudden, everyone is feeling kind of buzzed. And it doesn't appear to be stopping. You can already feel yourself swerving a little more than usual. Ladies and gentlemen, this battle is now taking place in the middle of the Sagittarius B2 molecular cloud, informally known as God's liquor cabinet. Thank you to Cracked for that.
Wow.
The molecules in question are mainly alcohol and ethyl formate,
My.
and they're seeping into your ships and making you feel real damn good. But you still have a job to do. I know what they say about drinking and dogfighting, but this is an emergency. Who knows how shit-faced those poor kids are getting? So the question now becomes, which team can finish off their opponents in crappy visual conditions and also while being fucking hammered? Team Rogue Squadron went first in the main round, so Team Star Fox will go first in the Drunken Lightning round.
Oh, you're gonna hate me, Raphael. Because I know what's in my heart, but what's in my heart is not gonna win us.
Is it slash fiction? Is that what's in your heart?
Yes, it is! How did you know? I mean, I just feel like if they're there, that, like, Falco's finally gonna feel like he can say to Fox, you know what? All this time I've been an asshole to you. It was because I really had a thing for you and I couldn't tell you because I'm an asshole who is bad with feelings. And then, but they're not in the same ship. They're in different ships, right? So then
They could be in the same ship by the end of this.
They could be. No, they will be by the end of this, but they're going to be like, no, what's going to happen? Shut up, guys. This is really important. That they're going to, like, say, oh my God, we have to survive to the end of this so that way, like, we can see if this will really work together so we can move in and, like, adopt a cat. And so they are going to go, for you, baby. And they're going to just, like, pound the fucking, like, I don't know, whatever's.
Wait.
What's in an X-Wing? Oh, I guess pilots. Pound the fucking pilots out of those X-Wings. That came out horribly. Shut up. And then, like, because they have to survive it, because they have to be able to find out if they. And Slippy's been hoping that this would happen for forever. And then
he can't be a voyeur if he doesn't have those large eyes. That's what
I know. And Peppy doesn't care. Peppy's just like, God damn it, just get it done so we can go home. I've got to go watch my stories. So that's what's going to happen. And then, wait. And then the other thing is that, like, the two of them are going to, like, they're going to line up and then they're going to fly in opposite directions and then meet so that they make a heart. Okay.
And then Rogue Squadron is defeated by the power of love.
I don't know how I didn't see this coming from the creator of Golf Daddy Voldemort.
Is that what I'm known as now?
I mean, that's what you're known as in my heart.
Oh,
it was
my God,
a shining,
like
glorious moment.
That's like a Christmas present to my heart. Thank you.
That's on my list of things to draw, Bob, just so you know.
Sorry, I almost stopped breathing.
I'm gonna draw it in the box with all the little accessories too.
I would argue that even though they have a little slight bit of the drunks, that the Star Fox team would still be able to maintain their natural animalian advantages, instincts, a bit better than, like, say, your drunken Luke or your drunken Wedge, and be able to manipulate that. But I like Bob's shit way better.
All right, Team Rogue Squadron.
Well, if you think Luke Skywalker has never spiked his blue milk with Corellian whiskey, thanks to Han Solo, and they were just pounding that. No, they've been pounding that shit back since they met. That's how they got cool. So I know Luke will be fine. He's built up a tolerance. He looks like a drinker. You can't say you didn't see fucking Luke.
Well, he does now after the crash.
Yeah, in the newest movie, he looked like he'd been drinking on that lonely island.
A man doesn't grow a beard like that.
He took off his hood so he could see.
Personally, I think that when you are trained as a Jedi, a lot of what you're trained to do is resist your baser instincts and, find this sort of higher plane of thought, which to me sounds a lot like resisting the baser instincts that come up when, you've tossed a few back. And Luke is going to be able to keep his mind. And not only that, but he can actually use the Force to clear the area around his friends' X-Wings and thus protect them from the fog. And if they've already taken some in, we see in Knights of the Old Republic that there are a number of light side techniques that can not only heal people, but also cleanse them of poisons and toxins and presumably intoxication. The other thing that I will say is...
Dare you slander booze?
I mean, booze is poison. That's why you feel weird when you drink it, and it sometimes makes you sick. It's great poison, but it's poison.
Blasphemy.
The other thing that I will say is, who really can't handle alcohol that well at all is animals. Really small animals like foxes and birds and frogs and bunnies.
They're not real small, though. They're at least humanoid size.
They're smaller and, significantly lighter body weight, I'd be willing to guess.
Oh, Falco definitely hollow bones.
Yeah, Falco's got them hollow bones. Slippy's gonna get drunker because frogs breathe through their skin, so he's gonna be taking this toxin in even faster.
Oh, man.
If they survive the time it takes for the X-Wings...
You're all getting drunk at the same rate.
If they survive long enough for the X-Wings to close the distance between them, I will be shocked.
You think anyone's ever licked Slippy for a really good time?
I think
that's
Amanda
probably
has.
where the origin of this Fox-Falco pairing came up.
That's why he has that haunted look in his eyes. He just gotten licked too much.
He's seen shit, man.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I mean, if that's the world you want to believe in, then that's fine.
I have to go blow shit up.
Okay.
And maybe decide on who wins this match.
Alright.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Will do.
Okay, bye.
So, Bob, there is something I discovered in my research, which immediately made me think of you, and I'm really glad you introduced slash fiction into this.
Yay.
Because apparently Wes Jansen, at one point, had a fling with a Bothan, which is an alien race, which basically looks like it could be on Team Star Fox. So...
Yay!
Aren't they open?
Although... slightly hurt that it was a fling with the Bothan, as though the Bothan wasn't good enough to take home to mommy.
Well, I mean, what if the Bothan didn't want a long-term relationship?
Yeah, what
I
if it
hope
turned
that's
what if
what
it
the
turned
case
Wes
was.
Jansen down?
Yeah.
Maybe. I hope so. I don't know. The Star Wars universe is a little weird because it is, despite it sort of having this pretense of not just galaxy-wide, but maybe universe-wide, different species and stuff, and these different relationships between all of them, that it always ends up being human-centric, which I get because it's a movie, that's much easier to film than it is to go, here, you're going to have to wear all this makeup and you have to pretend to be this other species for, the next 3 films of this franchise. But for a thing that's trying to represent something vast and sort of weird, it sort of plays it safe. Surely it would be much more like Mass Effect, where it's just things mingle with things and they're like, is our genitalia compatible? Who the fuck knows? We're gonna find out.
Oh my god, I cannot wait to play something other than a fucking human one day in Mass Effect. Apparently not this next one. You're still a human.
No.
Damn it.
See,
still a
and
human.
I feel like even then with Skyrim, you get more of that willingness to just say yeah, there's a bunch of different shit and it's all everywhere. It's not, we're not gonna say that humans stick with humans. Who knows? Humans and Argonians or humans and I don't know, Khajiit.
We don't keep
I love
it.
a Khajiit. I just like Khajiit because they're sneaky. And then they
that's
to say
racist.
things. Aren't they? Isn't that what they do?
I mean, that's why they're discriminated against, because everyone in Tamriel assumes that they're sneaky. They're basically, supposed to be represent Romani.
What I'll say about the human-centric observation you made about Star Wars is in the original movies, it kind of made sense because the Galactic Empire was explicitly kind of human supremacist. Yeah, I mean, genocidal at their worst, but human supremacist kind of as a rule. That's why you never see any aliens as part of the Empire.
Ish.
Hail Thrawn!
Well, yes, except for Thrawn in the books.
An open letter to all of Rogue Squadron. I'm very, very, very sorry. I never wanted to have to say any of these mean and hurtful things to any of you. Dear Lucas, please, if you ever do design an X-Wing, please still consider me to be one of the primary owners. I will pay for that shit.
The listeners don't know this, but when I asked Raphael if he wanted to be a part of this, he made me choose what side he was going to be on because he himself could not decide. He felt like it was too much of a betrayal.
Literally, Wedge is my favorite character in all of Star Wars. I mean, I was going to try and do a whole thing where he's essentially the boy who lived, but he's Neville Longbottom in just like a side note. But no, he's like not Fortitude. He's been through all of these like epic battles and the Star Wars now non-canon books. Thank you, Lucasfilm. Now all of my favorite stories are non-canon, but you know, I loved all of that, and so I didn't want to choose against that. But equally, I could not choose against Star Fox, because I love those damn games.
It's a dilemma that's easy to understand.
And one I'm sure you sympathize with, Miles.
Yeah, absolutely. At the immediate moment, I definitely do. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hope you guys had fun. I want to say a couple things up front. First of all, when it comes to opening arguments, Team Star Fox, you guys just wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, a little bit.
Those opening arguments were fucking brilliant. I thought Dan and Kit really got back into it during rebuttals. And then as far as the lightning round goes, I mean, I don't know. There were actual arguments, and then there was slashfic and the power of love.
Hey, it worked for Harry Potter.
Oh, Miles, you tried to make it normal. You tried.
I cannot be contained.
I mean, I tried to make it drunk normal, but yes. I came away from this fairly well convinced that Team Star Fox had the serious edge when it came to technology and the actual ships. I also came away with this pretty sure that Rogue Squadron had the better pilots in the ships.
Slippy, yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, those eyes are haunted. But in the end, based on simply the fact that they have Luke Skywalker, I think I'm going to have to give this to Rogue Squadron.
Yes!
Oh, heavy on edge there. Oh.
I don't think I've ever been that nervous waiting for a verdict to be announced.
Oh, good game, though, you guys.
Man,
it was so close.
I don't know how you managed to make teams animals in space with Slippy so confident sounding.
I almost gave it to you guys on pure fucking moxie, and I really, really almost gave it to you guys when Raphael made a fucking Walter Payton reference.
I knew he was... Oh, I knew it.
That almost swung it right there for me, guys. I hope, Raphael, you take some solace in the fact that the great Wedge Antilles has won this battle.
I do have a bit of solace, because then Wedge Antilles is still alive, and Peppy might be dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was perfectly prepared to go, you know what? Let's leave Wedge out of this.
Yeah.
I have no animosity towards Wedge, Antilles. These other three fuckabouts.
He's above and beyond. Luke.
Yeah.
My thing is, if Luke's on a team, that's points off for me, because there's going to be a high incidence of whining.
Yeah, and sorrowful looking.
But the thing about it is that you guys brought up the extended universe a fair amount of times, and canon or not, what the fuck ever,
it was canon. Thanks.
Luke is way less annoying in those books.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, he could hardly be more annoying.
True.
Just like Luke can fight Slippy in their own corner of space where they can be annoying together, and nobody will have.
That's gonna be a real fast fight.
Throw them directly into the sun.
You say that right until Luke gets covered in piss and his thumb gets bitten off.
All right. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Oh, yay! Are we gonna have a song now whenever we do things?
I hope people are imagining some kind of face or silhouette of something zooming into the camera then zooming away as it transitions to
Batman style.
the thanks. Over to Twitter. Thank you to Alan Kingsley for tweeting about our Bond battle to the James Bonding podcast.
Right.
Super cool. Thank you for a little shout out there. Also, thank you to Vander Turner, Florian, and Cosplay Fiend for retweeting our Bond Woman match. Florian added there was all the sexual innuendo you'd expect. I hope so. Also, Cosplay Fiend was super sweet and made Liz a meme picture thingy. It's basically about her way of making all her characters go straight for the asshole.
Yep. That was specifically about the latest Extraordinary League.
Yes. Yeah, that was about League.
That was great.
Speaking of League, thank you to Samaconda and Cosplay Fiend for retweeting that. And in Gmail, Bailey Spartatelli wrote to give us some suggestions and also to say that we're his favorite podcast. That's amazing. That's really sweet.
He also dared us to try to pronounce his name, so good job, Kit.
No, I said it wrong.
Okay. Never mind.
I was reading it too
Congratulations, retracted.
It's wait. Let me say it super Italian. Spartatelli. There we go. I even did the little hand thing.
Yep, I can confirm.
I'm not sure that was right.
I say we're not his favorite podcast.
You were,
Yep.
and it's gone.
I want to give a quick shout out to a friend of mine who's been a fan of the show for a while now, has been talking to me about it. Goes by the name occasionally of El Zitro. And,
Is he a luchador?
Yes,
Nice.
in fact, or at least when I knew him, he was at the Professional Wrestling Club of Northern Arizona University.
Wow. He sounds dreamy.
He's pretty dreamy. He's also a professional, and we should have him on sometime, but he assured me that he was gonna start working on his fan art for the Bond Girl My Little Pony.
Nice.
Oh, shit. Yes.
Right after he was done with his fan art for Smash Bash. So
Oh my gosh.
That is quite a goal he has set himself.
that's what he said, yeah.
I cannot wait.
El Zitro, you are still the
Yes.
champion in my mind, my friend.
And thanks also to Raphael. It's always so good to have you on, man.
yeah, dude.
And man, you had me sweating like I haven't sweated in a match
Yeah,
for a
dude.
long time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Smash Fiction. Next week, it is our second annual cage match. Balthazar Blake versus Ghost Rider versus John Milton versus Peter Lowe.
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman, with logo design by Colin Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod for our theme song, which is called Hitman. You can find his work at www.incompetech.com.
You can follow the Smash Fiction podcast on Twitter at SmashFicPodcast and search for us on Facebook and Tumblr.
Subscribe on iTunes, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
Fox is not throwing away his shot. A fox is not throwing away his shot. Hey, yo, he's just like his pappy. He's fast, furry, and scrappy, and he's not throwing away his shot. He's the pull that's capital ship out of storage. Or what he likes and swag he's got and brains and courage. The problem is he's got a fleet of plan but no wingman. I'm gonna build a team so badass haters got to acknowledge that our wings invincible. Air and space arsenal, G diffuser deflection makes this hull impregnable. Dance like a ballerina, hit like Ali. Makes the X-Wings about as nimble as Dr. Stephen Hawking. Falco's got the moves, the skills, and attitude to match. Slippy's breaking down the 50 ways to kick your ass. Peppy's wreaking havoc without waking from his nap. And you'll hear him yell our name as they fall to our attack. We are the STARFOX. Form up, roll out, bring the next wave of bogeys, cause we gon' bring them down, turning Rogue Squadron into a crew of clowns. And God help you if you have to go to ground. You're gonna eat pavement if you go round and round. Firefox illusion gun reflector, nobody faster. You won't be Fox or Falco with your puny blaster. Essentially, you amateurs better flee. Spare yourselves the shame and make the jump to light speed. If Star Fox were at Yavin and took on the first Death Star, y'all never would have had to go past episode 4. And Fox is not throwing away his shot. A fox is not throwing away his shot. Hey, yo, he's just like his pappy. He's fast, furry, and scrappy, and he's not throwing away his shot. A fox is not throwing away his shot. A fox is not throwing away his shot. Hey, yo, he's just like his pappy. He's fast, furry, and scrappy, and he's not throwing away his shot. I do a barrel roll.
Yeah!
My decision is officially reversed.